Welcome to the exquisite town of Stellenbosch in the heart of the winelands of South Africa for the final two matches of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge, as Kenya, Namibia and Zimbabwe are joined by Brazil from South America for this four-game competition. Last week, the talent of Africa was on display as we were treated to two brilliant games of rugby. Zimbabwe survived a second-half fight back from Brazil to book their spot in the final, while Namibia overpowered Kenya in the second half to progress to the last two. So first up today, it will be the two sides who tasted defeat on Sunday last week as Kenya take on Brazil with bronze up for grabs. It is another beautiful day in sunny Stellenbosch, a high of 28 degrees expected and not too much of a wind at the moment. Last week we did see that the wind had quite a big impact in the game, with all the teams playing with the wind at their backs, winning their halves. But in the end, it was Kenya who fell short against Namibia, and they will be looking to take some valuable momentum into the Rugby World Cup qualifiers that will be taking place next year. The Brazilian side, in their traditional yellow and green strip, will be playing from left to right in the first half. Kenya, in their red and black and green, who will be playing from right to left. It will be now, first up, the Brazilian anthem, and following that, the Kenyan national anthem.
Conseguimos conquistar com o braço forte. Em teu seio, ó liberdade, desafio o nosso viver na própria morte. Ó pátria amada, idolatrada, salve, salve. Brasil de sonho, intensidade livre, de amor e de esperança a terra desce. Sem teu formoso céu risonho límpido, a imagem do cruzeiro resplandece, gigante pela própria natureza. És bela, és forte, pálido do colosso, e teu orgulho fez essa grandeza. Terra dourada, lindo Brasil, és do Brasil, ó pátria amada. Dos filhos desse sol resplande, gentil, pátria amada, Brasil! Vamos! Rapaz, esses caras, hein, meu?
Pride, passion, and a bronze medal to play for these sides as we look at the Brazilian team that was named by Fernando Portugal. He made a few important changes to the side that went down to Zimbabwe last week. Pedro Lopez was phenomenal after coming on at the break. His 49th minute try sees him rewarded with a starting spot in the number 12 jersey. And at hooker, Leonardo Silva's second half performance also sees him promoted to the starting team. While for Kenya, their coach Paul Odera has made a couple of interesting changes as well. In the back line, Brian Tunga has been shifted and he will play in the scrum half position as the coach looks to see how he gels with Joan Kubu at 10. And that also means that Andrew Matoka is promoted to the starting team. The referee for today, it will be again Morne Ferreira, and he will be assisted by Ashley Jacobs and Vickers Nelv as his assistant referees. As mentioned, it is Brazil playing from left to right, so any bit of a wind will be assisting them in the first half, but at the moment not much to speak of. And Brazil will be eager to end their time in South Africa on a winning note. Lucas Spago to get us underway in the bronze medal match of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. And a bit of a deeper kickoff on this occasion for Kenya to deal with, comfortably dealt with in the end, as they look to try to see if they can work their way out of their own 20 to George Nyambua, the man that they call Gijo, making first contact. And it is the scrum half, Brian Tunga, deciding to find touch and just stepping out. Or in fact, it was Lucas Tranquez who caught the ball, but as he caught the ball, his foot was already on the touch line. And the assistant referee saying that that kick was kicked outside of the 22, so an early error by Kenya, immediately handing Brazil an opportunity to see if they can form an attacking line out here. And not the best of starts for Kenya, and Brazil finding their jumper. Leonardo Silva was phenomenal after he came off the bench last week as a replacement hooker, and he really made a big impact, and that's the reason why he's named in the starting team today. And he finds his jump on this occasion as well. But the rest of the forwards struggling to deal with the power of Kenya. They managed to hold that up. And it is Kenya who defended that line out ball really well. And an opportunity again for them to see if they can clear their line. So it is Brian Tunga, the man waiting to feed the ball in the scrum. Last week he started at wing. And such an important player for Kenya as the coaching staff look to see how he combines with Joan Kubu, who was exceptional last week in the number 10 jersey. Every single time he touched the ball, you just thought that something was going to happen. And the way that he was able to control play was really, really good. Almost looked like every time he touched the ball, he just had a few more split seconds to make some decisions than some of the other players. He was born in Fiji, moved over to Kenya in 2016. And could form a really important part of this Kenyan 15 side. First scrum of the match, steady, available at the back now as Tunga takes out, and he does find Kubu. They decide to run the ball from deep inside their own half, almost finds the gap, does John Okoth. Again, they decide to keep the ball in hand, playing it to Jacob Orji on the far side of the field. And the penalty, first penalty of the match, going the way of Kenya. Brazil not rolling away. And last week, the Brazilian side struggling in the first half. It saw them go into the second half against Zimbabwe with quite a big deficit that they tried to make up, and they managed to do it to a certain extent. In the end, they just ran out of time, falling short by 2 points. They scored a try off the final play of the game. If there was just a few more seconds left on the clock, I think that they would have fancied their chances of completing the comeback. But it was not to be. Kenya finding their jumper at the line out, using their big men, but Joshua Chisanga just not able to hold on. And an early unforced error from Kenya. It will be the second scrum of the game now, the first one with the Brazilian feed. Joshua Chisanga, the 8th man, a music producer in his spare time as well. He spent some time over in the UK playing for the Falcons in 2016. Also a really important part of this Kenyan side. Just looking up slightly as he received that ball. But all eyes now on the first Brazilian scrum of the match. First scrum rather, was steady from both teams. Matias Rocha was off on the bench last weekend in the number 3 jersey. He combines with Leonardo Silva and Cake Silva in the front row. Good clean ball by the Brazilians as it comes to Lucas Tranquez. He decides to put the ball to boot. Waiting for it is Andrew Matoka. Plenty of time for Matoka. And he decides to return the ball. Back in the hands of Lucas Tranquez. He finds the play on his inside. Now it comes to this near side. Robert Tenorio. He was also good last week. Tried to make his way down this right-hand touchline. Made his way into the half of Kenya. This time, Andre Aruda, the 32-year-old, crashing the ball forward. Again, using the back line now. Long pass coming from Lopez. Bounce backwards, says the referee. So Kleber Diaz taking the ball into contact. Now it comes to Leonardo Silva. Doesn't manage to gain any meters. Kenya working hard at the ruck and then picking that one up, but the ruck had been formed, says the referee. So another penalty that has been given away by Kenya, and this time it is the Brazilian skipper Matias Claudio who says, we want to see if we can make the most of a little bit of a wind at our back, and we want to see if we can put the first points of the game on the scoreboard. A long kick, this one from Lucas Tranquez, but last week we saw that he's got a solid boot on him. The 27-year-old also plays a really important part in this Brazilian team. He's won 41 caps. This is 42nd for his national team. And the first scoring opportunity of the match for the men in yellow. Six minutes into this bronze medal match, and no mistake from Lucas Tranquez. He splits the uprights, and Brazil take the lead 3-0 against Kenya in the fourth place playoff match of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. Brazilian coaching staff happy with that start. Kenya won't be too disappointed to only find themselves 3-0 down. They've played very little rugby in their opposition's half, and now Kubu decides to go towards the right-hand side for the restart, and comfortably dealt with by Brazil, but then Kenya very, very quickly up and forcing the ball out on the far side. And now an opportunity for Kenya to play some rugby inside the half of Brazil, as Eugene Wesonga makes his way forward in the number 2 jersey. Found his jumper comfortably in the first line-out of the game. And this time he finds George Nyambua. It quickly comes to the men standing outside of the line-out, using the big forwards to see if they can build a little bit of momentum here. Now it comes to Kubu. Strong run coming from John Okoth. Does well to keep the ball in field. As Tanga finds the big men. Again, Tanga waiting for it. Again, he uses one of his big forwards. It's Malcolm Osando. But he's driven backwards in the tackle. Tanga now finds Kubu. Little pass on the inside, but well read by the Brazilian defense as the little chip kick comes from Vincent Onyala. And Lucas Spargo was there, but he just took his eyes off the ball. And this is a very good attacking platform, for the Kenyan side, and much better since the restart for Kenya. And Kenya have spent some time here in South Africa. They played against the team made up of some of the Currie Cup players from South Africa a couple of weeks ago. That would have been a great experience for them as well. And of course, it's all about building for those qualifiers taking place in July in France next year, where Kenya will look to book their first ticket to the Rugby World Cup. Tanga feeds again, it's solid. And into the hands of Kubu. Kubu looks to put Unyala in a gap, but well read again. Quick ball now is what Kubu wanted, but they decided to change direction as Kenya looked to stay patient and keep ball in hand, keeping it with the big men for the moment. Again, the ball secured at the back, and it's Kenya again, Tanga again to Kubu. This time it comes to Vincent Unyala, manages to step past a few defenders, but then hits hard in the tackle. Now Tanga deciding to go himself. Does well to keep the ball available. Matoka now trying to step past a few defenders. These Kenyan players so dangerous if you do give them a little bit of space to work with. Eugene Wesonga. Tanga is there, he's eyeing up his options. He decides to find Kubu, and Kubu gets it into the hands of Osando, but he's driven backwards in the tackle. Strong defense coming from Brazil, but there was advantage that was being played. And now decision time again for, or this time for the Kenyan side, as Daniel Sukuta will have a think. Do they opt to level the matters or level the score? Or do they back their line out, back their scrum? And it looks like they are going to go for backing their scrum. Fernando Portugal, the 40-year-old Brazilian coach, looking on intently. Played center for his national team and became head coach of Brazil a couple of years ago. He will have a long-term vision of taking Brazil to the Rugby World Cup as well, perhaps looking at 2027 after they were knocked out of their qualifiers by Chile and Uruguay earlier this year. But this is where the Kenyan team caused all sorts of problems for the Namibian defense last week in this type of position as Brian Tanga waits to feed. A bit of pressure that's being put on by the forwards of Brazil and picked up at the back by Joshua Chisanga. He just loses the ball forward. And Brazil survive. And the penalty awarded to Brazil. Not rolling away is the call from the referee. And an attacking opportunity gone a begging, or not able to execute were Kenya. They backed their scrum, but just an unforced error costing them an opportunity as Brazil managed to take play back to close to the halfway line. Ronaldo Silva in the number 2 jersey made such a big impact last week after coming off the bench. He really made a big difference. And I think he didn't miss a line out after coming on in the second half, and still hasn't missed a line out yet. He goes to the front of the line out this time. And Brazil managed to form their maul. They managed to gain a few meters all the way into the half of Kenya, still making their way forward. And now the advantage is there for Brazil. Waiting for it is Goncalves. And the referee saying there's no further advantage. And that's excellent work by this Brazilian team. Again, decision time, and again it is Matias Claudio handing the ball to Lucas Tranquez, his fullback, saying we want to see if we can double this lead. This effort about 8 meters in from this near side touchline, so quite a bit of a longer kick, but the way that he cleared the bar in that first, with that first kick of his, he should have the distance quite comfortably. Brazil currently ranked 27th in the world in the World Rugby rankings. But they are also missing a few of their key players for this tournament over in South Africa. But still a very, very valuable experience for Brazil, and they really will be eager to end their campaign on a high note, heading home with the bronze medal. Franquez doesn't quite get hold of all of it, but it doesn't matter because he still had a few meters to spare, and Brazil double their lead. And also a warning to the Kenyans. It looks like any penalty inside the half of Kenya, he will be able to put over. So Brazil take the lead 6-0 after 14 minutes in this bronze medal match of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. Kubu with a similar restart to the previous one. And this time Brazil lose it, but they lose it backwards. And now the space opens up a little bit. Looking for support on this near side. And it's been ripped by Kubu in the tackle. Kubu stepping, almost makes his way past a few defenders. Tanga now finding the big Ephraim Udur on that far side. He was played off the bench last week. This week he gets an opportunity to start, but the penalty goes the way of Kenya. Not rolling away is the call again from Morne Ferreira. And this one right in front, about 42 meters out. Matthias Rocha, the man penalized, and he apologizes to his team as well. Not able to roll away, and Kenya now deciding to slow things down to take the 3 on offer, with the ball being handed to Joan Kubu. Straight in front, just inside the Brazilian 10-meter line. Joan Tavaga Kubu. Kenya know this is an important kick. And it's good, says the assistant referee. So the gap has been reduced. 6-3 for Brazil. Again, didn't look like the kicker got hold of all of it, but it didn't matter as he managed to clear the bar. And again, it's Joan Kubu with that boot of his, reducing the gap for Kenya. A very close encounter, this one, during the early moments of this game, as Daniel Sukuta, the captain for Kenya, receives the ball. Runs it out of the 22, so Brian Tanga now finds Kubu, and again it's the Kenyan team looking to run the ball from deep inside their own half. It worked for them against Namibia last week in the first half. They're looking to build on that momentum. Tanga Kuti back in position, again using the forwards. Tanga this time throwing the dummy, not bought by the Brazilian defense. Gaining a little bit of momentum now is this Kenyan side, and Tanga setting for the box kick. It falls for Kenya, but the referee was playing advantage earlier. And so it is the Brazilian team with another opportunity to get rid of that 3 points that Kenya just scored and to extend their lead back to 6. But they opt not to go for the posts as they find touch on the far side, just inside the Kenyan 22. Silva, this time it's over the top, and that's an uncharacteristic mistake from the Brazilian hooker, but it worked out in the end and not coming from Kenya. So another attacking opportunity for this Brazilian team, this time a scrum, as that front row of Kate Silva, Leonardo Silva and Matthias Rocha looking to cause the damage up front for Brazil in this scrum tussle. Coming into the hands of Pedro Lopez, the star of the second half last week for Brazil. This time it's available for Andre Arruda. A real test this for the Kenyan defense. Secured at the back, available for Concalves. This time he finds Matias Roja. Excellent defense by Kenya at the moment. Comes to Spargo, long pass over into the hands of Tranquez. Then it is Lopez. But Kenya forcing the Brazilians back for the moment. Available now for Concalves. Again Concalves. Spargo. Tranquez. Comes into the hands of Tenorio and he finds a little bit of a gap. Still managing to make his way forward. Gets the pass away on the inside. Falls in the hands of one of the Kenyan players. And the pass has also gone forward, says Morne Ferreira. And so the Kenyan defense holding for the moment, but that is how dangerous Brazil can be. Pedro Lopez, Robert Tenorio, really excellent when they do have a little bit of space to work with. And they can open up even the best of defenses. But on this occasion, Kenya somehow managing to keep the Brazilian team out. And it is very hot here in Stellenbosch today, up to 28 degrees in the winelands of South Africa. So it is a water break called by the match officials. And also an opportunity for the coaching staff to get some messages on. It really has been a tight battle so far. Only 3 points in it. And still early in this game, a quarter of a way through this encounter. Alain Roland, the former international rugby referee, assisting the match officials here in this competition as well. As he also has an opportunity to bring some water on for the assistants. And the assistants for today, Ashley Jacobs and Vickers Snell, real great opportunity for them also to get some valuable experience officiating at this high level. Roland also representing Ireland in this beautiful game of rugby. Played a number of internationals for them. Also refereed in that World Cup final in 2007. A man with plenty of experience, and World Rugby looking to make the most of that as he looks to train up this up-and-coming match officials as well. But Kenya put under a little bit of pressure at scrum time. They've managed to get their way out of danger for now as John Okoth gains a few meters, and now the ball comes to Kuba. A little bit of space that's been made available to him, and he finds touch on this near side of the field. So an early change for Brazil as Robson Moret makes his way onto the field. He came off the bench last week as well in the second half. Only his second cap for Brazil at the age of 23. And it looks like a tactical decision, that one, by Mr. Portugal. Doesn't look like an injury. Brazil with the line out. This time Silva finds his jumper. This time it's Pedro Lopez again. He's had a number of strong runs down the middle of the field, and he again gains valuable meters for Brazil. Quickly comes out on that far side. Roja takes the ball forward, also gains a few meters. This is good play by the Brazilian team. It comes into the hands of Arruda. Arruda also giving some valuable meters. Now it comes to the back line. Into the hands of Tranquez. Now to Tenorio. This time he can't step past the defense, but he does well to keep the ball alive. Devin Miller making his way forward, and Miller still on his way to the try line. And he manages to get over as well, and the try has been awarded. Brazil have been on the attack for a few minutes, and finally the Kenyan defense breaks. And Brazil open up their lead with 2 points to come. Terrific support on the bench as well, and Jacobus de Wet van Niekerk there. He started last week at 12. This time he's on the bench, and he is supporting his teammates, and he knows how important that score is for Brazil to open up an 8-point gap with a possible extra 2 to come. The man on the right there, Jacobus de Wet Malan van Niekerk, started last week. Born in Cape Town, played for Hermanus High School, and had an opportunity to go to Brazil to play some sevens rugby there, and then drafted into their 15s team as well. Tranquez with 2 from 2 so far in this game. And 3 from 3 as Brazil extend their lead to 10, 13-3. Brazil lead over Kenya in the fourth playoff match of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. Kubu with the restart. This one a little bit higher hanging, and excellent work by Kenya quickly up there as Joan Okoth makes a strong tackle. But well, Brazil initially managed to secure it, but then strong work at the breakdown by this Kenyan side. And now they'll look to unleash their back line as Kubu gets the pass away to Mukitsa. Mukitsa steps his way back on the inside. Still coming to this near side, Kubu, and he tries to put in a little chip kick through, but it's been gathered by Gabriel Quirino. And again, just not coming off for the Kenyan team when they are on the attack at the moment. And that is largely thanks to a solid defensive effort by Brazil as well. They've really been strong on defense. And now it is Lucas Spago. He's not going to find touch. Waiting for it is Andrew Matoka. Matoka, he's got plenty of support. If he decides to use it, Matoka looks to get through the gap, but he's just been held on to. Still available now for Kenya. It's Malcolm Osando making contact. And a penalty awarded. So again, it's an opportunity for Kenya to see if they want to reduce the gap or whether they will look to put the ball out on the far side of the field. And it is Morne Ferreira who points to the post. So Joan Kubu with an opportunity to reduce the gap. On the bench for Kenya today, plenty of experience as well, and a good mix of youth. And they will all be looking to make a big impact here in the second half. Samuel Asati started at 9 last week. He'll be in the 21 jersey. Peter Colonzo, also one of their sevens players, as well as Isaac Njoroge, the replacement backs. But all eyes on Joan Kubu to reduce the gap to 7. the man born in Fiji. And he pulls this one slightly to the left. So Kubu had an opportunity to go to Kenya in 2016, played flag rugby there. Must have fallen in love with the country. Don't think he had any plans to go back, wanted to play for Kenya. And what a terrific talent he has been for this Kenyan side since he made his debut earlier this year. Just brings so much flair and stability as well to this Kenyan backline. Spargo goes deep and he finds the captain, Daniel Sakuta. Sakuta, difficult man to bring to ground, manages to make his way to just short of the 10-meter line. Quickly in position is Tanga, and now it comes to Kubu into the hands of George Nyambua. Kenya just need to be patient on attack. Look very dangerous when they do have ball in hand. Just sometimes try to force things that haven't quite been necessary yet, as they manage to retain the ball. Just Sanga managing to make his way forward before getting the offload away. Looking to suck in the defense. Again, keeping it with the forwards. The big Thomas Okeo. Now Kubu just starting to take on the defense himself. Looking to keep this ball available. And the penalty advantage is there, says the referees. Good patience being shown here by Kenya, managing to work their way towards the 22. Comes into the hands of Mukidza, brings it wide to his captain Sakuta. Again available, Tanga waiting for it. He finds Mukidza. Mukidza almost gets through the gap and he manages to get the pass away to Udur. Still making their way forward is this Kenyan side. Nyambua taking on the defense. Very promising this from Kenya on attack. Kubu now. Kubu gets through the gap and Kubu will go over for Kenya's first try of the game. They kept ball in hand. They remained patient. And Kenya right back in this clash, reducing the gap to 5 with the conversion to come. And that is how dangerous this Kenyan team can be when they keep ball in hand. And we've just been speaking about how important Joan Kubu has been for this Kenyan side. On this occasion, he doesn't do it with his boot. He just looks for the gap. He reads the game so well. And he saw that there was a little bit of space opening up in front of him, but it really was a team effort, as big men up front as well as the back line playing their role, sucking in the defense, keeping the ball available for Kenya, and eventually for their fly-off, the gap opened up. He missed the previous one, but this one is over from Kubu as he reduces the gap to 3. It's Brazil 13, Kenya 10, 9 minutes to go in this first half. Lucas Spargo in his 7th cap for Brazil with the restart, well secured by Daniel Sakuta. Again, it is the Kenyan team looking to run the ball out for the moment, but now it does come to Kubu, just opening up a little bit of space, and he puts the ball forward. And almost a bit of miscommunication. Eventually it falls for the replacement, Robson Moraes. Brazil do well to... Oh, in fact, it's been turned over now by Kenya. This is also where they can be so dangerous if they can open up this Brazilian defense with from turnover balls. But it's been lost backwards. Well, in fact, it's a knock-on by Brazil. So scrum in the middle of the field for Kenya. The scrums have been solid from both teams. This is the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge, the bronze medal match, Brazil up against Kenya. Just a reminder that a little bit later on this afternoon, it will be the final as two of Africa's biggest rivals, Zimbabwe, meet Namibia. And for Kenya, they will be in action in the World Rugby qualifiers next year. They will be up against Uganda in the quarterfinals, and then they know an important game coming up a little bit later on. So there's the drone that is being used by the teams for analysis, and which you will hear in the background from time to time. If you do see it in action, the footage of the game will be used by the teams afterwards to analyze their performance, to see where things need to be improved on. And it is wonderful to see all the technology that is available for these sides. Really, really important part of rugby nowadays, the pre-match and post-match analysis. Using anything that they can find to try and get the edge over their rivals. Strong scrum coming from Brazil, but it's available for Kubu. Comes to this near side, into the hands of Andrew Matoka. Does well to keep the ball available, and this is a nice little play. John Okoth. Okoth has got a lot of speed, and he manages to get over for the try as well. In his fourth test for Kenya, John Okoth manages to go over for a try, and for the first time in this match, Kenya in the lead. Andrew Matoka doing extremely well down this left-hand touchline. And then also managing to get the pass away on the inside. And John Okoth in the right place at the right time. He still had quite a bit to do to finish things off with some speed. And he hands an opportunity now for Joan Kubu to add the extras to take Kenya's lead to 4. But this one, probably the toughest kick of the game so far for Joan Kubu, right on this left-hand touchline. Kubu pulls this one slightly to the left. So the score remains Kenya 15, Brazil 13. 5.5 minutes left in the first half of this World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge bronze medal match. Brazil starting this game really well, playing most of their rugby inside the half of Kenya, but in the last probably about 8 or 9 minutes, it has been all about Kenya, and they've certainly found their rhythm in this game. Spargo with the restart, and again it goes to their captain Daniel Sekuta, who secures the ball initially backwards, but the referee saying there was a knock on there. So the captain Daniel Sekuta, I think he's almost secured every single restart so far in this game. On this occasion, just losing it forward. So the team physios, the team doctors, as well as Dr. Lee Gordon. Springbok Sevens team doctor, also looking to make sure that the player is fine and safe and able to continue. Also represented South Africa as a doctor at the Tokyo Olympics for the Hockey Federation. Possibly just checking to see if there was any concussion, and she has a chat with the medical staff of Brazil. Everything seems to be all right. And there is Leonardo Silva, the hooker for Brazil, and looks like he will have to go for a quick concussion test. So the principal there, recognize and remove, recognize to see if there is contact to the head, perhaps a head injury, and safety first. So he will be looking that his game can continue later on, because he really has been good for this Brazilian side. But now it's up to the back line for the moment, as Daniel Lima has a rare opportunity in this game down that left-hand touchline. He's been quite quiet in this game compared to last week. This time it comes to Andre Arruda. And this is where Brazil also have to be patient on attack. It comes to Roja down the middle of that field. Strong defense by Kenya for the moment. Look, working hard at that breakdown, trying to see if they can force a turnover. And picked up at the back by Goncalves. Thought that he spotted a little bit of a gap. And the advantage is there for Brazil. Gabriel Paganini making contact. Still advantage for Brazil as Spargo spots a little bit of space, but it's been quickly closed down by Kenya, but they will come back for the earlier penalty. And an opportunity now for Brazil to find themselves back in the lead with the penalty inside the 22 of Kenya. And it really has been an evenly matched encounter so far. Only 2 points in it for the moment. And Brazil looking to take the lead again just before we head into halftime, with Lucas Tranquez waiting for the kicking tee. He's been really good from the kicking tee throughout this tournament, and today specifically. And a really important kick, this one, to give the momentum and the lead to Brazil just before halftime. And no problem from the kicking tee again for Lucas Tranquez, as he puts Brazil back in the lead by 16-15 against Kenya. Fernando Portugal will be delighted how his team has responded after they conceded those 2 tries. And so important to score in this period of the game, just before halftime, just after halftime as well. Such a crucial period of the game to give your team the momentum. Kubu with a nice high hanging kick as well, and Kenya managed to secure the ball. Ian Jenga. Playing it on this near side, almost intercepted there, but it's still available for Kenya as Vincent Onyala makes his way down this left-hand touchline. Decides to take on the defense himself, secures the ball, makes it available. Brian Tanga now into the hands of Nyambua. Nyambua with the strong run. Stopped just short, still available for Kenya as Wesonga takes the ball forward. He's driven backwards in the tackle. Does brilliantly well to secure the ball and make it available. Now it comes to Kubu. Into the hands of Mukidza. Still Kenya moving forward. Again, they just need to remain patient here. Keep the ball in hand. Wait for the gaps to open up as Brian Tanga waits for it. Now it again comes to Kubu. And this will be the score for Vincent Onyala. Delighted is the outside centre to go over for the Kenyan team. And a brilliant time to score right after conceding just before the halftime break. the perfect way for Kenya to go into halftime. And Vincent Onyala represented Kenya at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo this year. Was also the top Kenya try scorer in the World 7 Series a couple of years ago. He knows his way to the try line, and that definitely shows. He just needed a little bit of space in front of him, and the gap opened up, and he goes over for the score. So it will be Kenya with the lead heading into halftime as Kubu looks to add the extras to open up a 6-point gap. And Kubu curls this one in nicely, and that is the halftime whistle as well. It has been a close battle throughout this game. Kenya scoring 3 tries and 1 in the dying seconds of the halftime to take a 6-point lead. It was Brazil who started really well, but it's been all about Kenya in the final 20 minutes of that first half as they secure a 6-point lead. Still all to play for in the second half of this encounter, as Brazil, they will take a lot of comfort from their second half performance last week against Namibia, and they'll be looking for another strong performance like that. So stay tuned in to the World Rugby feed. The second half between Kenya and Brazil coming up right after the break. Welcome back to Stellenbosch. This is the fourth playoff match between Kenya and Brazil. It is the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge, and it is Kenya who takes a 6-point lead into the second half. Really well, and they opened up a handy. For Brazil, the replacement making his way on in the beginning of the second half, and Fernando Portugal managed to make a few really key changes last week against Zimbabwe, and the changes that he made in that second half really working very, very well for them, and he'll be hoping for similar changes in this game as well to see if Brazil can take their game to another level and to see if they can end this tournament in third place. It has been an important learning curve for the Brazilians as they also look to qualify for not this World Cup but the one in 2027. Unfortunately for them, they don't have a chance of qualifying for 2023 anymore, but they are building for the future. And it is Andy Pinheiro in the number 16 jersey who will be taking this throw in at the line out, so that does mean that Leonardo Silva did not pass his concussion test. And also a change that has been made in the back line as Jacobus Malandavet van Niekerk has made his way on for this Brazilian side, as Lucas Trankes now looks to see if he can spark some magic in this Brazilian back line. Brazil have been dangerous at times when they've kept ball in hand, and this time they bring it down the middle with a nice pass from Lucas Spago, as it goes to Trankes on the far side, and Devin Miller making his way down that right-hand touch line. Advantages there for the high tackle, says the referee. Very good start this from Brazil in the first few minutes of the second half. Just stopped short. Still available, waiting for it at the back there is Pinheiro. And keeping it close, Morne Ferreira looking on. Looking to use their big men to see if they can drive it over. The advantage, or new advantage, is being played. And this might be dangerous, or a warning for this Kenyan side. And it is a card for the Kenyan team. And a penalty try as well that has been awarded. So a very, very big statement from Brazil in the opening minutes of the second half. And they know that they will have a one-man advantage for the next 10 minutes. Of course, no conversion necessary anymore with a penalty try being awarded. And Brazil back in the lead. The man who will be spending 10 minutes in the Sinbin is Thomas Okeyo, the number 5 lock for Kenya. And Kenya will look to respond quite quickly after conceding, and the penalty immediately going their way. They decided to take it quickly as well as Brian Tunga makes his way forward. Stops short, 5 meters out. Kenya looking to respond right away. We've got plenty of numbers available on the left-hand side if they decide to go that way. They're keeping it up close for now. Brian Tunga quickly back in position. They've also got an advantage. Still available now for Kenya, but it's slow ball for the Africans. It now comes to Kubu. Spreads it out wide to Darwin Mukidza. And making his way through the middle. He's going to be stopped just short. It's still Kenya who remain on the attack. Brazil's defense holding for the moment, but Kenya getting ever so closer to that try line. And they go over. Are they able to get it down? The referee is in position. He says no. Tonga now looking to find Kubu. Kubu steps past the defenders. He gets the gap as well, and that's the second try for the fly-off. Playing with one man down. Kenya responding immediately. And Kenya back in the lead. Delight for the Kenyan bench, as they would have been slightly worried after conceding that try early in the second half and also finding themselves a man down. But the perfect way to respond from them. And it is that man again, Joan Kubu. And Fernando Portugal will be slightly disappointed that this team just let their guard down slightly. While for Paul Odera, he will be absolutely delighted with how his team responded. And so Kubu making his way back to his half and allowing one of his teammates to take the conversion. And the conversion is good as well. So Kenya back in the lead by 6. And it is Andrew Matoka taking that conversion. So an exciting start here in the second half to this game. But the perfect way for Kenya to respond after conceding that penalty try and finding themselves a man down. And it's advantage back to Kenya. And they secure the ball comfortably from the restart as well. And they get the penalty as well. And here, Morne Ferreira will want to have a word. And perhaps just looking for their captain, Matias Claudio. In fact, it's the fly half, Lucas Spargo, that he has a word with. And perhaps just a bit of a warning. They have given away a number of penalties at the breakdown. And again, it's not rolling away, which is the call from Morne Ferreira. And immediately an opportunity for Kubu to take play back into the Brazilian half. A rare mistake from the fly-off. Doesn't find touch. Comes in for Spargo. Spargo looking to step past a few defenders onto the halfway line. Keeping it on the short side. Trunquez on that far side. Goncalves. And ball lost forward by Goncalves at the base of that ruck. And also a change that is being made here as Adrio De Mello, who started last week, makes his way onto the field in the number 19 jersey. Only 20 years old is Adrio De Mello, winning his 8th cap already for Brazil. So Kenya still down to 14 men for the next few minutes with Thomas Okeyo. Only thing he can do is sit and wait for his time in the sin bin to be up. But as soon as Kenya went a man down, they responded with a beautiful try. He will be absolutely delighted with that. Strong scrum from Brazil, but it doesn't matter. Quickly taken out at the back by Tonga. Now to Kubu. Kubu again looking for that gap. Makes the ball available. Now it's Matoka going into play scrum off. Strong work at the breakdown by Brazil, and they force the handling error as well. And Brazil looking really strong with that previous scrum. And perhaps they'll be looking to take advantage of that as they also make a change. On comes Douglas Routh, the 24-year-old, winning his 9th cap for Brazil. And the man to make his way off, Felipe Goncalves. Half an hour remaining in this fourth playoff match of the World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. A little bit later today, the final of the Stellenbosch Challenge. Big African rivals, Zimbabwe up against Namibia. And both those teams will be fancying their chances of booking their ticket to the World Cup in 2023. Namibia have been Africa's representatives at the World Cup for the last 6 tournaments, while Zimbabwe last featured at a Rugby World Cup in 1991. They played at the first two, 1987 and 1991, yet to pick up a win. And in fact, Namibia also yet to pick up a victory at the Rugby World Cup. But they have been the dominant side for Africa after South Africa. And they were fancying their chances of picking up a victory in 2019 against Canada, but their match cancelled. And Phil Davies, the coach of Namibia then, he was there, took over in 2015, really took Namibia to the next level. They were eyeing that game to see if they can finally get that victory, but unfortunately for them, nature had other ideas. But Namibia possibly still the favorites to represent Africa at the 2023 Rugby World Cup. But not if Kenya or Zimbabwe can have their say. Douglas Roth, again strong by Brazil, again quickly taken out. And into the hands of Spargo. Tenorio down that right-hand touch line. Andre Arruda. Now Spargo again finds Diaz. Diaz brought to ground just inside the Kenyan 22. And another handling mistake there by Felipe Goncalves. And Fernando Portugal trying to encourage his players from the sidelines. A couple of basic errors costing both teams in this game, but in particular Brazil. They've just looked to force things perhaps a little bit too quickly, not remaining patient enough, and it's cost them a scoring opportunity here. It's an opportunity now for Kenya to get out of their own half. But this Brazilian scrum has also been causing a few problems for Kenya. Strong forward pack from Brazil. Quickly out at the back, it comes to Kubu. Kubu looking to see if he can make his way through the defenders. He's brought to ground by Lucas Spargo. Tanga out to the big George Nyambua. Again, Tanga. Tanga again. Looking to find his backline on that far side. Vincent Onyala, the man to clean up. So it looks like the Kenyan have made a change in their backline with Kubu playing more of a center role at the moment, or perhaps a fullback role, as the ball falls for Spargo. Manages to find enough support to secure that ball as it's taken out at the back by Routh. Now to Tranquez. Into the hands of Van Niekerk. Van Niekerk taking on the defense. Again, it's Routh. Now perhaps a bit of space available on that far side for Brazil to try and exploit. Devin Muller taking contact. Still available now for the men in yellow. Holding some good momentum here, but strong work at the breakdowns. Available for Brazil. It's Roja. Spargo finds Fanica. Fanica gets the gap. He's looking for support on this near side. He does find Moraes, and he manages to go over. The flag is up on this near side. The assistant referee, with the consultation with the referee, and the flag went up. Robson Moraes thought he scored. He made his debut last week. He's not happy with that. But the assistant referee in the perfect position to make that call. And probably millimeters in that one. Eugene Wisonga finds his jumper. Kenya looking to open up a little bit of space here to try and get the kick away, and this is where Kenya can be dangerous, but they can also play very risky rugby. On this occasion, it doesn't quite work out, but they had the advantage from an earlier knock-on. So it will be a scrum for Kenya on their 5-meter line, and Kenya enjoy running the ball from deep inside their own half. They don't mind taking a few risks. Sometimes it pays off, but this time they did have the security that they had the advantage. So Kenya also back to their full team after Thomas Okeo spent 10 minutes in the sin bin. And they're still holding on to the lead. 29-23 against Brazil. 24 minutes remaining in the bronze medal match of this World Rugby Stellenbosch Challenge. Brian Tunga waiting to feed. The experiment of having him at scrum off with Joan Kubu certainly working so far. And now it comes to Kubu, and again they're running the ball, but this time it's been lost forward, and this is where Brazil can take advantage. But the double knock on, and we just spoke a bit about how Kenya can be dangerous from their area, from the inside their own in-goal area. A little bit later on, it will be Namibia who will be up against Zimbabwe in the final of the Stellenbosch Challenge. Namibia really strong in the second half of their game last weekend against Kenya. Completely dominating that second half. Strong forward display, using their set pieces really well. And they'll be looking for more of that. But Zimbabwe have also shown just what they are capable of. And that game coming your way just a little bit later. For now, though, water break here in Stellenbosch in match 1 of day 2 of the Stellenbosch Challenge. It is up to 28 degrees here in Stellenbosch. Brazil with an attacking opportunity, 5-meter scrum. Joshua Chisanga will have to make his way off for a few minutes. A blood replacement, it looks like. And the big Elkins Musonye will be making his way on in the number 20 jersey. Elkins Musonye. Oh, difficult position for him to come on with his team under pressure deep inside their own half. And Brazil with an attacking scrum. I wonder if Brazil might just try and keep this ball in the scrum a little bit longer to see if they can't push their way over the try line. They have been strong at scrum time throughout this game, as Douglas Roth feeds, and it's exactly what they do. They keep it in there. They'll try and drive their way over. Still being controlled at the back. The penalty is there. Oh, and Roth just not able to get his hands on the ball, but it doesn't matter because the penalty is there. The penalty try has been awarded. And again, no need for the conversion. So just like that, Brazil are in the lead. And it all started with the Kenyans trying to run the ball from inside their own in-goal area. And it is the Brazilian scrum securing them a try, the second penalty try of this game. And with 21 minutes to go, just 1 point in this fixture. Joan Kubu with the restart. Waiting for it is Robson Moraes, and a strong hit coming from the big John Okoth. The last time Kenya conceded a try, they responded straight away with the try of their own. They'll be looking to do the same here, but Brazil will be aware of that as it comes to Tranquez. He looks for touch on this near side. He's not going to find it as Darwin Mukidza is in position. He gets the pass away to Kilonzo, now to Kubu. Now it's the big Vincent Onyala making his way down through the middle of the field. Still available now for this Kenyan team. Strong work from Kenya. Stopped just short of the 22 to Mukidza in that fly-off position. Available on this near side. John Okoth looking for the gap. Does well to secure the ball. Picked up at the back by Samuel Asati. Again Asati. Now to Mukidza. And the ball was lost forward, but the referee was playing advantage. And now decision time for Kenya, with Morne Ferreira showing the penalty 5 meters in from this near side touchline on the 22. Certainly kickable, but will Kenya back their line out? Does look like it. Joan Kubu stepping forward to find touch on this near side. And excellent kick there by Kubu. At one stage, I think he might have thought that he overcooked it a little bit and put it out over the try line. But perfectly placed. And Eugene Wesonga now with an important throw in. Kenya know how important this score is. Joseph Oderum also making his way onto the field in the place of Ephraim Oduor in the front row, and a throw just over the top, but it doesn't matter. It's worked out for Kenya, but he's lost it just forward. And a chance for Kenya, gone begging. 2 mistakes. First it was the overthrown line out, and then losing the ball. So there's in fact Ian Njenga, who is the man that made his way off the field for Joseph Odero, who came on. I think it was in the number 3 jersey, Ephraim Oduor, who lost that ball forward. He might have wished that he went off just a short while ago. But a good effort by Ian Njenga, the former Kenya under-20 player. Today in the heat here in Stellenbosch, still Brazil deep inside their own half. 1 point in it with 18 minutes remaining. Andre Aruda picking the ball up at the back of the scrum, making his way to just short of the 22 as Lucas Spargo waits for it, and Spargo finds the safety touch on this near side. And water break here in the second half of the Stellenbosch Challenge bronze medal match. And Morne Ferreira will enjoy some water. The players will enjoy some water as well, and the coaches will enjoy an opportunity to get some messages on to their teams. A real nail biter here in the bronze medal match of the Stellenbosch Challenge. Alain Roland just sharing a little bit of information to the match officials, possibly just how they're communicating on the field. Match officials, the referee and the assistant referee as well, and he has been playing a really important role during this tournament, sharing his knowledge and his insights with the match officials and passing on some very valuable experience that I'm sure these match officials will remember for a very, very long time. Man with plenty of knowledge of rugby and in particular officiating in big crunch games, and he's been in these situations as well. And it has been wonderful to see how these teams that have been representing their countries in this tournament have been able to learn from the likes of Alain Roland as well as other staff here from World Rugby, as World Rugby also invest in the up-and-coming teams in Africa as well as all over the world. This time strong from Kenya, managing to hold there, and it comes to Van Niekerk. Van Niekerk taking on the defense himself, not able to get through the gap, but he does well to secure the ball for Brazil. And it comes now to Lucas Spargo, spotting a little bit of space on this near side, but Mokidza is there. It comes to Oji, does well to make his way down this right-hand touchline, opening up a little bit of space. Strong run from Eugene Wesonga, gets the offload away as well on the outside to Malcolm Osando, and it is Kenya who strike. Kenya back in the lead with 15 minutes to go. Delight on the bench for the Kenyans, almost out of nowhere. Jacob Oji started things, and it was another great team effort as Kenya go over for another try. They're back in the lead and an important conversion to come. Another injury for Brazil, and perhaps another change that will be necessary as their team doctor pays attention. But the focus on Kubu for this conversion to try and take the lead to 6. No problem with the kick. So Kenya 36, Brazil 30, 14 minutes to go. And again, Kenya showing how dangerous they are when you just give them a little bit of space. And plenty to ponder for Fernando Portugal. Does he have another trick up his sleeve in the final few minutes of this game for his team to head back to South America with a win in this bronze medal match? Kick charged down and picked up again by Arthur Bergo for Brazil. Into the hands of Devin Miller now. Can Brazil respond right after conceding? Comes to the big clever Diaz. Douglas Roth waiting for it on this near side. Goes to Andy Pinheiro. Strong runner as well, but they've managed to bring him to ground. This time it's the big Andre Arruda. Picked up at the back, keeping it with the forwards for the moment. Offering his support is Joel Ramirez. Again, Figueiredo this time managing to secure the ball for Brazil. Again, they're keeping it tight, keeping it with the forwards, backing their big men to see if they can go over. They've got their back line lined up on the right-hand side, but happy to keep it with the forwards for the moment. Roth controlling things in that number 21 jersey. And the penalty is awarded to Kenya. Sealing off there by Brazil, and Kenyan defense high fives all round because they know how important that period of play was. And they keep the Brazilians out. And they keep their 6-point lead, and Portugal will think, how did Brazil not take advantage of that situation? Perhaps just keeping it with the forwards a little bit too long. And another injury for Brazil. It has been a physical battle between Brazil and Kenya here in the bronze medal match. And Kenya also considering their final few changes. Paul Odero waiting to see if he still has any tricks up his sleeves for the final 12 minutes of this game. A very even contest in this game. The lead has changed hands multiple times. And for now it is Kenya holding on to that lead, but less than 7 in it as Kubu finds touch on this near side. But Kenya motivated after that defensive effort to keep Brazil out. And is that a momentum shift that can prove to be the difference in this game as Eugene Wesonga waits to look for his jumpers. Missed his previous throw-in. This time they keep it simple. Go to the front, off the head of one of the Kenyan players, but it falls kindly for them as Samuel Asati secures the ball. Samuel Asati now back in position. And he sets for the box kick, and he puts this one deep. And it's directly out into touch. And that is a bit of a coach killer. Just as Kenya survived a big onslaught from Brazil, they've given away possession. And inside their own half, as Douglas Roth this time receives a little bit of attention to his nose. And the referee saying that he might have to go off for a few minutes to get some attention to that nose. And back onto the field will come Felipe Goncalves. Probably thought his day was done. But it's a blood replacement, so he is able to make his way back onto the field. Indy Pinheiro now with an important throw. He struggled in the first half last week, but this time he finds his jumper comfortably. Makes the ball available now for Devin Miller. Change of direction for Concalves to Spago. Finds the big Bergo. And the penalty again going the way of Kenya. Portugal not happy with that decision. But this Kenyan defense holding very nicely. The questions that have been thrown or asked of them in the last few minutes of this game, they've managed to answer quite comfortably. And again, an opportunity for them to take play back into the half of Brazil now to see if they can close out victory. 11 minutes to go. They lead by 6, and they know one more score here could be the score that secures victory for them in this bronze medal match. But Kubu needs to find touch, and that's a brilliant kick by the Fijian-born. Just what Kenya would have wanted, just what his coach Paul Odera would have wanted. And he's showing just how important that kick was for him as well. With Douglas Roth, the man, back on the field after receiving that attention to his nose. Just quick running repairs. This time now an important throw for Eugene Wesonga. They go to the front again. It's been disrupted by Brazil. And they're looking to run the ball from inside their own half. Arthur Bergo. In fact, that was Van Niekerk eventually making contact, gaining a couple of meters. Now Roth looking for his support runners on the outside. Coming Pedro Lopez there, making his way down that right-hand touchline. Indy Pinheiro. Now Roth putting it high. Kenya able to deal with it. Darwin Mukidza. And Brazil have managed to force the turnover as well. 9 minutes to go in this game, and Brazil back on the attack. Can they take advantage of this opportunity? Calling for this ball on this near side. Andre Aruda, he finds Devin Miller now with the pass inside to Van Niekerk. Just not able to hold on to it. And the South African-born not able to control the ball. Perhaps looking up, seeing that the try line was in front of him. And losing the ball forward, and Portugal looking to pull the hair out of his head. Frustrating for him. It has been a solid performance from his Brazilian team throughout this game, but just at times making a few basic errors. And there is Van Niekerk, the man who knows this area all too well, having been born in the Western Cape of South Africa before making his way over to Brazil. Also studying physiotherapy in Brazil, not just playing rugby. And the Brazilians who have played their part in the first half of the game can only look on during these final 8 minutes. Can their team cause or force a comeback? What do they still have to throw at this Kenyan defense that have been somehow surviving in the final or the last few minutes of this game? Asati feeds. Asati quickly out to Kubu. Kubu taking his time, and again he finds touch on this near side. And Kubu with a good touch finder. 7 minutes remaining, 6 points the difference. One more score for Kenya should seal it. But it's all been about Brazil in the final few minutes. And there's Van Niekerk again taking on the defense. He's brought to ground just outside. Quick ball from Routh into the hands of Diaz. Now to Spargo. Again Routh, this time he finds Pinheiro. Oh, and it's Lucas Tranquez. He's been really good throughout this game, but he's lost the ball forward, and it's been kicked through, and Kubu's again kicking it through. Plenty of Brazilian defenders running back. And all the way back for Robson Moraes, and he's been tackled over his own try line. And excellent work by Kenya, forcing Brazil all the way back onto their own try line. And is that the moment that changes the outcome of this game? A 5-meter scrum for Kenya. And one more score here should settle the bronze medal match. Robson Moraes delighted to, well, he showed good speed to get back, but in the end just not having enough support to try and get the ball out of their own try line area. And Namibia have wrapped up their warm-up for the upcoming game against Zimbabwe. And time now for just their final few moments of mental preparation for this all-important clash in the Stellenbosch Challenge final. 5 minutes to go. Kenya 36, Brazil 30. Kubu and Jacob Orji on this near side. And Asati decides to find Kubu, and Kubu taking on the defense himself. Quickly there's Oji to support. Now it's an opportunity for the big men. Looking for the score that will, or the, well, that should settle the result here. Chisanga driving forward. And the penalty going the way of Brazil. So this game not done yet. 6 points in it. And Lucas Spargo now with an opportunity to find touch on this near side to see if he can take play too close to the halfway line. And plenty for Brazil to do here with 4 minutes to go. Andy Pinheiro with the throw-in. Whose fitness levels will be, well, in fact, who will be the fittest in this game? Who will outlast the others? As Ralph puts this one forward, but it's gone a little bit too far. Plenty of time for Mukidza to deal with that one, and he puts in the little kick through. As Tranquez is the man that has to cover. He finds Spargo on his inside. Spargo this time getting past a couple of defenders. Got the pass away to Carino. Brazil making their way back to the halfway line. It comes on this near side to Bergo. And a big run there coming from Figueiredo, but it's gone forward, says the referee. And time starting to run out for the Brazilians. Just a few basic errors creeping into both teams' game in the final few moments of this game. So just a few minutes to go in this game, and Kenya will have the feet at the scrum on the halfway line. After this, the big game, the final, Namibia up against Zimbabwe. And these sides know that their next meeting might just be at the qualifiers next year, taking place in France. If they both win their game, they will be meeting in the semi-final. But for now, Kenya looking to hold on for victory. And final changes also being made as George Nyambua and Eugene Wesonga make their way off for the final few moments of this game. Asati waiting to get this ball out. He finds Kubu. Kubu eyeing up his options, looking to play the ball, and a pass out of the back of the hand to Jacob Oji. And secured by Brazil, not giving up, forcing Oji to hold on the ground. And with just a couple of minutes remaining on the clock, it is Lucas Spago finding touch on this near side. As Andy Pinheiro is ready for his throw-in at the line-out, an important one to find his jumper. Gets the ball to Roth, now to Fanikak. Fanikak to Spago, almost intercepted as it goes wide to Quirino, and then to Tenorio. Still available for Brazil. It is back into the hands of Pinheiro. Spago to Diaz, and lost forward. And this is where Kenya can also be extremely dangerous. Asati now decides to give it back on the inside to John Okoth. And the penalty as well. So with just a couple of minutes, it is Kenya who know that a successful penalty attempt here could seal the victory, but they might just decide to put the ball out into touch, to play the last couple of minutes of this game deep inside the half of Brazil. Might just be a little bit too far for Kubu. Will be a big effort from him. Would be a big effort from Kubu if he was to decide to go to poles. And perhaps also an option just to try and run out the clock. Not rolling away, that was the call. So now decision time here for Kenya. And Kubu decides to find touch on this near side, and looking to close out the game deep inside Brazilian territory. It will be a well-deserved victory for Kenya if they can hold on for the win. They struggled in the opening few minutes of the game, but since then they have been the dominant side. On defense, on attack, they've been really good at times. And Ochieng with his first throw-in of the match. They decide to go to the back, and it's skew and referee playing advantage, but no advantage there. So decision time now. Scrum or line out, very close to the final play of the game, and perhaps one final opportunity for Brazil. They'll have to go 80 meters here to see if they can pull off a comeback victory. Against Zimbabwe last week, they fell short by 2 points, and it will have to be a converted try if Brazil want to head back to South America with the victory. But first it is Andy Pinheiro who will have to make his way off, and they'll have to bring on, it looks like, Craig Silva, who will be coming on in the number 1 jersey to replace Pinheiro in the front row. And there is the 27-year-old Silva. Plays his rugby over in France. So good experience from him. And they'll need all the experience, all the skills, all the capabilities to Brazil to see if they can pick up a victory in the 3rd, 4th playoff match of the Stellenbosch Challenge. Routh feeds, Routh takes out, he finds Spago. Long pass over, and it's Lucas Tranquez. Gets the pass away to Robert Tenorio. Bit of excitement down the right-hand touchline for Brazil. Strong hit coming from Malcolm Osando. Still available for Spago. Big collision there. Alexandre Figueiredo, the man brought to ground. Douglas Routh again waiting for it. And the penalty awarded, not rolling away, is the call. 6 points the difference, and an opportunity for Brazil to set up an attacking line out as Lucas Spago looks to find touch. Tense end to this game. The coaches can only look on. It all comes down to possibly the final play. A converted try, that's what Brazil need for victory. While Kenya will just look to get this ball out as quickly as possible to secure the bronze medal. And it is Silva, usually plays prop, but he finds his jumper and it's not straight, is the call. And there will be time for the scrum, says the referee. In fact, it looks like it's Alexandre Figueiredo, the man who took the throw-in at that line out there. Hooker, both their hookers currently on the bench, so it is the prop forward, probably not used to that role. And he is the man that had to take the throw-in at that line out. And he missed, well, in fact, it was skew. And I'm sure that Joan Kuba would have asked the referee exactly how much time is left. What do they need to do with this ball? Can they just get it out as quickly as possible? Do they need to run down the clock? Brazil putting everything they have into the scrum as Asati takes it out, but they will have to reset. And I don't think Kenya will mind this too much, possibly just ending off the final few seconds of this game. And Kubu communicating there with Joshua Chisanga. Just get the ball to me, I'll kick it out, and we can enjoy the victory. But first, the big men up front will have to do the job against what has been a strong Brazilian pack. Asati waiting to feed. And it is available at the back. Asati gets it out and he kicks it out into touch, and the referee says that is that. So relief on the Kenyan coaching bench. An important win for Kenya, finishing off their time here in South Africa with a victory. And there will be some wonderful celebrations tonight as well. It was tight, it was physical, it was a real test match. And in the end, it was Kenya securing a 36-30 victory over Brazil. That sees them win the 3rd, 4th place playoff, and they will head back home with a bronze medal. The full-time score here in Stellenbosch, it's Kenya 36, Brazil 30.